Good morning. I am so excited to be here with you today on a day sixth day of our challenge. Get ready for miracles. So today we're going to be talking about something that is very close to my heart. But of course, the first thing we need to be absolutely clear that the sound is working. So maybe you could let me know. I'm just checking here on my website if it's working. 5 people. Wonderful. Welcome everybody. I am so excited today. I can't tell you how. Yes, sounds good. Okay, perfect. So we know that the sound is good. Hello, Fran. Good morning. Here's, I've got a little message for you. Okay, now it's here. I love you. You know, I can't tell you how joyous I am about this live today, because this is something that I've been working with for at least 15 years. Almost with every client, with myself, with my friends, and it is so incredibly important. So today we're going to be talking about turning your fears into miracles. I typically say turning your fear into success, but I'm actually going to probably change this from now on to the success to miracles, because miracles is much higher level of importance than even success, in my opinion. So how and why do we want to turn our fear into miracles? So very important thing that I want to share with you today is that over the past 20 years, when I was working with my clients, and even when I was working with my own goals and my intentions, what I've realized that we often set our goals and we go ahead and we work very hard, but there is something going on somewhere else that we don't realize underneath the surface, that it's looking like we're going through a mud or through a trickle. And there is a certain level of resistance that is not allowing us to move forward with the speed that we want. And the reason being why, it is usually some kind of fear that is underneath the surface, trying to masquerade as procrastination, sensibility, being realistic. Oh, come on, don't be so silly. Just be realistic. Just don't ask for too much. This will never happen. Just go one step at a time, which is all very good. But if you all have the same goal for the 3rd year, let's just say if someone has got a goal for 5th or 6th year, losing weight, there may be a very good question to ask. There could be a fear behind that is not letting you to lose your weight, and why? So if we keep on pushing and setting those goals and going forward with confidence on one level, but underneath there is another part of us that is biting our bum and it's pulling us back and it's trying to slow us down. It's that part of you may have something very valid to say. And if we do not, good morning everybody, thank you so much for joining me. And if we do not acknowledge that aspect of you that will do everything to stop you from going into danger, exactly, into danger zone, then if you don't acknowledge that part, achieving that goal may be difficult. So let me give you an example. So recently I have worked with a few amazing change makers, heart-centered entrepreneurs who the goal was to make a lot of money, and they were doing a good job, they were impacting people beautifully, they were making a huge difference. But what happened is that they had this underlying fear, which was huge, of being too wealthy and something happening to their family, something happening to the kids, being kidnapped, being killed, being in some form of a danger that has happened to the previous generations. So you see, what happens if we set a goal and we keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, but underneath there is a different part of you, which is making sure that you are safe. Then there's two energies going against each other. Which one is going to win? Which one is going to be on top? This is the question. Another example, which I will never forget. I remember a few years ago working with this woman who was beautiful, intelligent, successful, but she had 5 sizes extra that she didn't want to walk around with. And she used to say to me, you know, it doesn't feel like it's me. It doesn't belong to me. I don't want that fat around me. It sort of stops me from being who I am and doing what I want. I don't want it. I absolutely don't want it. And so she tried different diets. She tried the different things. But at the end of the year, she was maybe 1 kilogram larger. And it went on for many years. And I've asked her finally, what is the worst thing that will happen if you lose your weight? And she said, nothing. I just once and for all, that's all I want. It's my main dream in my life to be slim. And I kept on drilling and drilling and drilling. And finally she said, well, I got it. And she was quite shocked. If I lose my weight, I will be raped again, because I will be attractive. Men will start looking at just my body and I will get into danger. I will simply be raped. When she realized this, and she, by the way, she forgot that because it wasn't anything big. She thought she got over it and she moved on. But in reality, that part of her that wanted her to be safe took over and said, if we make you really fat and ugly, nobody's going to lay a finger on you. And so you see, we have those fears that are underneath the surface, and they keep on dictating direction in which we're going to be sort of heading this year. So you just think about it. You have all those dreams, you have all those goals, you know what you need to do, but you're not doing it. So then what? So you may have a great idea, great goal, great plan. All you need to do is to call someone, pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, I would love to work with you. I think I'm going to help you. And you know you're going to make a big difference to them. But maybe I'll call tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. No, tomorrow I'll call. Today I'm going to relax, but tomorrow I'm going to call. And it keeps on going like that for days and days and days. So the procrastination, it's holding. Usually any procrastination that you have, it's there to protect you from pain, from failure, from hard work, from any kind of difficulty. So the part of you that is procrastinating is saying it's going to be difficult, it's going to be painful, you're going to be judged, criticized, rejected, homeless. Please don't do it. Okay? Now, what is actually quite interesting, typically most of those fears are underneath the surface, so we may not even know that we are afraid of it. And those are the sneaky little fears, buggers, that we are leaving under the table and allowing them to run the show. While we know what we want to achieve this year, even our soul knows that this is the direction to go, not just the ego, but our soul. Everything is set, everything is ready. And then we're not doing it. I mean, I've had many things like that. In fact, I want to tell you about my book. Well, so you see, my book, The Expansion Game, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. If you don't have the book, please get it, because it's going to make your year a lot more miraculous for sure. With my book, what happened was I knew exactly what I wanted to share with people, and I was sharing it with them face to face. But when it came to writing it down, it put a fear of life into me. Now, I didn't actually know it, but I kept on procrastinating, and people kept on asking, why don't you have anything in a written form? And I was saying, oh, well, I'm too busy. I have to do this, I have to go there, blah, blah, blah. And I was coming up with those long-winded stories, giving this, well, let's name it what it was, this sort of kind of bullshit. But in reality, I never knew that I was scared till someone pointed it out to me and said, you have this amazing technique that turns fear into success and brilliance and miracles. Why don't you use it on yourself? And I went like, why? Everything is fine. No, it's not. Thousands and millions of people are waiting for this technique while all you're doing is procrastinating. Can you wake up? This person said. And so I did. So I have written the book, but then once I've written it, I was procrastinating publishing it a bit because I was scared of being visible. I was scared of making videos. And what will people say about me? Will they criticize me? Will they judge me? Well, whatever and whatever. So that makes us selfish. When we do not know that we are being affected by fears, and we basically hold our power back and our gifts, our talents, at the end of the day, it makes us selfish, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound right? Can you share with me? Can you tell me if you know what I'm talking about, if you agree with me, that if we allow our fears to run the show, we don't share with people what's our greatest talent, our gift to the world, what we are actually here to do, yeah? And so now, how do we turn the fear into a miracle? And I must add that it's not just the fear, turning fear into miracle for yourself. It's typically actually turning into miracles for everybody. Because you see, now I have written a book. I keep on receiving messages from China, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Japan, saying, hi, I've just read your book and I've applied it onto one of my fears and my life has changed and this has happened and that has happened, and my daughter, my son, my husband, my friend, and I am now running courses all over the world, and they're saying, and I'm finally feeling like I am fulfilling my purpose. But they didn't realize before that they were afraid of something, and now they do. So you see, the awareness of what is basically stopping you makes a huge difference. And when you know what is actually hiding behind your goal, typically there is a goal, and yes, we have to raise our vibration, we have to think positive, we have to be grateful, we have to bless, maybe we have to send love, and take action. All of that is true. But if we do not release and utilize what's standing in the way, usually masquerading as tiredness, exhaustion, anger, sadness, depression, if we don't release that anger that masquerades as anger, but it's actually fear, then we may be going in circles, procrastinating, and possibly never achieving what we came here to achieve, and never sharing with people the greatness. So you see, I'm so passionate about this subject because it's so crucially important. I can't tell you how important it is. It's thousands of clients I've worked with that suddenly during the session with me, they will go, oh my God, I never realized that this fear I had was there for so many years, and it was stopping me what I've always wanted. And so how do we turn that fear into miracle? The number one most important thing is to look at your fears very differently, to look at them with gratitude, to look at them with compassion, to look at yourself with compassion and say, wow, I have this fear. It means that it wants to protect me. But there is another side to it. It wants to protect you from success, from happiness, from being slim, fit, visible, attractive, on the stage, sharing with people your wisdom, maybe writing a book, maybe letting go of your job that you hate, maybe I just broken the chair. maybe letting go of the relationship that is not right for you. All of those fears are there to take you to your next level of expansion. So if you look at the fears slightly differently, and you look at them that they are like a doorway to your next level of growth, next level of expansion, next level of brilliance. The universe is calling you to go to the next step, to go to the next level. If we only look at them like that, this is the first miracle. This is going to open your expansive self. It's going to take you to the next level of stretching. And it's going to be a great blessing, not just for you, but for the other person who is next to you, for the team that you work with, for the whole planet. And the best thing to do is to actually read my book. You can also send me a message privately, and I can send you I can send you an email with the chapter of the book that shows you how to do it. But I'm going to give you an example now that will make sense. And I'm also going to attach underneath this video a few examples of me doing expansion game with other people. So let me give you an example. So one of my clients wanted to change the way we're happening at work. And what she told me, she said, well, I go to work, I come in, and all the people coming to me with their problems, I look at the emails, I've got 500 emails to go through, and I keep on staying at work for the rest of the day, plus 2 extra hours for no extra pay. And people know that I'm so effective that I do things quickly. They come to me with the last thing, situations which are dramatic, catastrophic, and they ask me, could you please help? I can't do this by myself. If we don't do this, we're going to be in challenge. And so people leaving me all these things. And then I say yes. I don't want to say yes. I'm getting stomach aches. I'm getting uncomfortable feelings in my body. I'm losing my energy, but I always say yes, 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 yes. Okay. And then she was diagnosed with some serious illness. And when she came to me, she said, well, I think one of the main reasons why I'm getting sick is because I can never say no to people. And so we have taken the expansion game, and I said to her, okay, so what is your goal? And she said, well, my goal is, my desire, my dream is to be able to go to work and only do my job, not do 3 or 4 or 5 people's jobs, because it's exhausting me. And I want to come home and have energy for my family and have fun. But at the moment, I just drop into bed, barely existing. I can't even feel like cooking or looking after myself. So I said, okay, so what is the worst thing that will happen if you say no and say, no, guys, that's your job, not my job. Go and do it yourself. And she said, oh my God, that will be terrible. They will all think that I am a nasty person, horrible person. They will basically not come to me anymore. And I will not be the first person of call in this office at the moment. It makes me feel good, because people say, oh, Kate, you can, if nobody can do it, Kate can do it. And it boosts my confidence and makes me feel great. I said, okay, so if you say no more often, they will start judging you. And what will happen then? And she said, well, then I will not be loved anymore. I will not be respected anymore. And I will just be like anybody else. And finally, they will replace me with someone. I will lose my job. I said, and what will happen then? She said, well, I bring the majority of money into the house. I'm the main breadwinner. And if I lose all the money, then we will have to probably sell the house and go to rented accommodation, and it will affect my children's schooling. And and maybe, I said, and what's the worst thing that can happen? And she goes, I think we're going to become homeless, and we're going to live under the bridge with my children, my husband. And so I've asked her to exaggerate the fear and look at it straight into the eye of the fear, and instead of keeping it under the table and getting sick and being, in fact, she got cancer, right? So the inability to say no was not only hugely affecting her family, because she became grumpy and terrible to her husband, actually, but also it was affecting the whole team because they started worrying about her, but they still kept on coming and asking her for help. So that was, so I've asked her all those questions, and we took the fear from unconscious to conscious to worse, even worse, and catastrophic. And then I asked her this: so Kate, what would you want instead of this fear? And she goes, well, yes, I would basically like to feel that I can say yes to some things and no to others. And even if I say no and tell people why no, they will understand, and they will become actually more reliant on themselves, more creative, more confident, more powerful, and actually will be good for them. And I said, so what will happen if it positively impacts you and the client? And she said, well, and the team. And she goes, wow, I think that if I say no, they will probably have to employ one or two people, and it will be good for the company. Everybody will be benefiting from it beautifully. And what will happen to you? She said, well, I will fully focus on myself. I will start cooking for myself healthily. I will start paying attention to my family. I will be nicer to my husband. I said, and what will happen then? And she said, well, then I'll survive. For starters, I will be here for my family. I will be living long and healthy life. But also I will, maybe, she said, maybe something even better will happen. I said, what's that even better? And she said, well, I think I would want to start teaching other people, particularly women, the yes girls. I will want to teach them how not to go through burnout and sickness and killing themselves in the name of being liked. Okay, so she started putting some little courses together, and first she was teaching people in her office, but then people started inviting her to come to their companies, and the word spread. And she never intended to be a coach or be a consultant, but miracles happened. So in that session, we went there. She said, I would like to teach. And I said, what will happen if you allow yourself to truly follow the situation as the biggest gift? And she said, well, then I can maybe save people's lives and impact thousands of people in the organizations who are going through burnout. And in that session, there was a birth of a miracle, if you can think about that. There was a birth of a new opportunity, new job that wasn't creating miracles just for her. It was creating miracles for hundreds and now probably thousands of people in organizations. So can you see how that works? And there was one more element that we took her to. So she gave me all the worst possible scenarios, from being disliked all the way to catastrophic living under the bridge. And then we looked at the positive things, being able to say no, them employing other people, still liking her, and actually opening a new business herself, which happened. The expansion game, when you have the worst possible things and the best possible things, all you do is this. So here we go. I allow myself to go to work and from now on saying no. I allow myself to for people to be shocked and disappointed and suddenly be disliking me more than they've ever done, and to really stop asking me for help, and for me not to be useful anymore, and then for them to fire me, and for me not to have money to pay for my accommodation for my house, and to lose the house, and to basically end up under the bridge with my kids and my husband, completely homeless, upsetting my kids, not looking after them properly, and being a terrible mother. And I am very much looking forward to it. So you have to say at the end, I'm looking forward to it. And then you go to the other side. She said, I allow myself to go to work, say no, for people to be shocked if they want to, and then slowly start getting a way to find their own way of doing things. I allow myself to suddenly have more time, be more relaxed, start meditating, going to the gym, do yoga, be nicer to my husband, be nicer to myself, be nicer to my kids, find time to make myself more important, become a very successful, highly accomplished and no sayer, and saying no, 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 and only saying yes to things I want. And I allow myself then to create a course for people who have been in the same situation as me, who are in the same situation as me, and touch their lives so they can start taking care of themselves and let go of the fear of being judged and criticized and rejected, become very successful, impact thousands or millions of people around the world, make a lot of money, and but doing something that I want, and I'm looking forward to it. So we did that a few times. We took a deep breath in. She said something shifted. I've expanded. I am different. I'm excited about saying no to people. And she did indeed went, and she's done it. And she's doing really, really well. So when you think about it for your own self, the kind of exercise that I would like you to do today is, I want you to look at your goals, the goals that you have for this year, the biggest ones, but particularly maybe look at some of them that you may have had last year, but you have not achieved them for whatever reason. I bet it's something to do with the fear, okay? That if you achieve it, something bad will happen. For instance, a lot of my clients who are change makers, heart-centered entrepreneurs, they are doing well, but they're just afraid to go to the next level of success, because they say, well, if I become very successful, I will have to travel too much. I will have to go here, there, and everywhere. And unfortunately, if I do that, I will not be around for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my kids. I will not be a good mother, and I will burn out, and I will have to give up my happiness, my joy, as I will be successful at my work and visible, but I will no longer be able to be me, relaxed me. So you see, the fear of success, the fear of being visible, the fear of being too successful may stop us from achieving what we truly want to achieve. But when you look at your fears in that way, when you treat them with love, when you treat them with curiosity, and know that behind your biggest fear is your biggest miracle, and you know that behind that biggest fear is the new way of expansion, a new way inviting you to step into it, then you can absolutely know that you can do that in the way that suits you. That you can leave the job whenever you want to. That you are in control here, nobody else, and certainly not the fear. So this is how we are taking the biggest fear into the biggest miracles, and that's how you actually play with it. Now, what I would like to suggest is that you do listen to maybe one or two videos that I have recorded about this, taking people through it, that you read how to do this, and then you take one of your biggest goals and you ask yourself, what fears are associated with this goal? And ask yourself, what will happen if I don't achieve this goal at all? Never. But what will happen? What's the worst thing that will happen if I do achieve it? And this is where the answers are buried. What is the worst thing that will happen if I achieve my biggest dream, my biggest desire, my biggest intention? And then you will come up with the answer, and then you make the fear bigger. You blow it out of proportion. This will happen, and then I will lose this and lose that. And when you actually blow the fear like a balloon, you can only go that far, and then you go pop, and it will blow up. That's how it happens. You can do that in pairs with friends, and that's what I tend to suggest, that people do that with friends, and it's actually quite funny. And the reason why I've called it the expansion game is that when you are actually working on your fears, you laugh. You laugh, you laugh, you laugh, because it's actually quite funny how you can go from being, saying, no, I sorry, it's too much for me, to being immediately, homeless and living under the bridge with your family. And even she said to me when we were doing this exercise, actually, maybe it'd be quite nice to live close to nature and by the river. She said, I love rivers so much, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad. And we laughed our heads off, I remember. Okay, so that's the expansion game. And be very curious when people ask you about some things that you are very talented at, but you're not doing. Be very curious when you start procrastinating and saying, no, and no, it's not the right time, and giving long-winded stories. Be very curious about it and be inquisitive and ask yourself, hey, maybe I'm just afraid. What is the fear? And then immediately embrace the fear and love it. And essentially, my darlings, when you start looking at life this way, there is nothing really that is bad, because you can utilize everything that's on your way as a lesson or as an opportunity to expand and be a bigger kind of person. So that's that for today. I would be so curious how you're getting on with your expansion game. But there is a meditation here that we will finish off with, and I'm going to explain it first, and then then we will do it. So I have created this technique myself, and it's called 2 screens. And basically, how it came about was that often when I see people for sessions and I use my intuitive insights, I'm also an intuitive, not just a coach. I look at where they are right now in screen A, and then I look at screen B, where they will be when they fully expand, shift, and step into their greatness, which typically happens by the end of the year, let's say. Then they may need 6 months or 12 months to shift something and make a big impact in that area. And when I look at those 2 screens, the screen A is very much affected by how they think, how they act, and how they're being. Okay, so they may be quite fearful, pushy, doing too much. They'd be too busy. And then screen B would be, they will think differently. They will think that they have all the time in the world for that. They will feel more relaxed. They will feel more empowered. They will feel more loving towards themselves, more compassionate, and they'll be therefore taking different actions. And so it was so quick that I would see the solution. And typically, by looking at those 2 screens, I would come up with the solutions very quickly, like within two seconds. And they used to say, how did you come up with this? This is incredible. How did you know? And then I taught them how to do this exercise. And every single time they were getting the same things. And I was thinking to myself, there is nothing unusual about it. Is that we have always access to where we are, because when we look at ourselves with honesty, what are we doing that it's making us stuck? We are actually doing it. And then we look at the future self, which is already in existence, because you see your future self is always ready. Your future expansive self is always ready to support you, to help you, to give you answers to all your questions, but we don't access it. It's like we ask other people, we go to therapy, we go to coaches, which is not a bad thing, but we have the inner coach inside. All we need to do is to tap into that part of you and ask, what is she doing? How is she thinking? And how is she being? And compare those 2 pictures and spot the difference. Like in the magazines, you have a magazine, and in one picture, the lady is standing with a bag with a button, and in another picture, she's standing with 5 buttons and something else. When you spot the difference, this is the exercise. Will show you. This exercise will show you what is the difference you need to create in your life to get where you need to go. Okay, so we're going to look at that exercise. I call it screens, very simple. Imagine in front of yourself 2 screens, and screen A is where you are now, and screen B, where you will be, where you fully expand into your greatness by the end of the year. So let's do the exercise. So take a deep breath in, breathe out. If you're not driving, close your eyes. And I would love you to just get into a relaxed state. Feel how you are sitting. Make sure that your spine is straight. Reconnect with your heart. Feel grateful that you are here. Feel grateful that you're giving yourself this time, because it means you are here. So that means that you are ready for miracles, that you're ready to create miracles in your own life, that you're ready to create miracles in other people's lives, that you are on the path of expansion. So feel gratitude towards yourself this time. Imagine that you're giving yourself a big hug, or physically even embrace yourself at this very moment. Give yourself a big, big hug right now. Embrace yourself and see the light coming out of your heart in all directions, that it's clearing the way of all procrastinations, all resistances, all fears, everything that you no longer need. It can be resolved, dissolved, and turned into the light. And then look at those two screens, and I want you to think about something that you really deeply want to create in your life, that you deeply want to manifest, something that it's so precious to you. If only you could achieve it this year. And look at the screen A, where you are just wishing and wanting to have that in your life. Whatever this is, a happy relationship, more financial abundance, more loving friendships, a different job, successful business, better health, whatever that is. See at screen A where you are right now, where you are with it at this very moment. You're looking at screen A, and as you look at yourself from a distance, be loving, compassionate, not judgmental, and look at how this person is thinking to not be there yet. What is he doing? How are they feeling? How is this you feeling? And how are you creating not having that yet in your life? And then take a deep breath in and breathe out and look at screen B. And in screen B, you're going to be there already. You're going to have what you so deeply wanted to create, maybe even for years, not just this year, but maybe before you wanted, but now it's there. You've created it. And so when you look at screen B, see the difference. How is this person feeling? How is she thinking? And what is she doing there, which she's not doing in screen A? What is she doing? And look at the most expansive self and go and meet them. Go and meet them. Meet this future you. Step into his shoes. Look at life from this perspective and allow yourself to expand into this space. And from that perspective, look at today and see what could you do today in your everyday life. And maybe it's doing, but maybe it's being. Maybe it's something to do with shifting the way you are being more than what you're doing. But just basically look backwards at today. Send love from there to here. Send blessings. Bless that person with success, with miracles, with health, with wisdom, with knowing how to trust the intuition, knowing what to do and how to do it. Keep on blessing them. Keep blessing that person. And then come back to the screen A and allow those two beings to merge in their greatness, in their wisdom. And take a deep breath in, breathe out, and gently open your eyes. So this is, welcome back, by the way. Have a nice drink when we finished. Reward yourself today, because this is the beginning. If you take it seriously and lightly at the same time, this is a beginning of rapid expansion for you. Because if you're going to look at your fears differently, not procrastinating about them, not hiding them under the duvet, under the carpet, but you're going to look at them with the big eyes and send light there, you're going to turn your life into a miracle. But not just your life, but everybody around you will start transforming and and shifting in great speed and great process of affecting everybody and everything in our world. So I think we have a duty to expand gracefully. We have a duty to be fearless, because fear stops us from loving, and love creates miracles. So from today onwards, I would love you to play with your fears, look at them differently, read my book. And I'm just reminding you, this is because it's probably the easiest way to understand it, because I give there lots and lots of examples in this book. I give examples about fears about relationships, fear of money, death, people dying, fear of losing a loved one, fear of never achieving your potential, fear of saying no. All of those fears are covered in this book. So you don't have to look very far, just open on the right page and see how it's handled. So my beautiful people, thank you so much for listening to me today. Again, finding time to be with me and with yourself and with your expansion and with your creation of your miracles. Please share it with at least, today is my bold request, please share it at least with 5 people. Share it on your wall, share it with 5 people, because it's something very important. And not many people talk about it. So I think it's important that we reach more people with this message. Don't you think so? And have the most delightful, delicious, peaceful, joyful day you could ever imagine. And I bless you from the bottom of my heart. I bless your fears. I bless your dreams. I bless your health. I bless every aspect of your life with great expansion, love, prosperity, and deliciousness. Have a wonderful time. Lots of love. Thank you for being with me today.